Cute kitty. She's so cute. Okay. Hey everybody, welcome to the live stream for Thursday. Thursday, August 3rd, 2023. Time flies. What happened in July? If you're new to the group, welcome. We are studentloanjustice.org. We are the first, the oldest, the largest, and the only true grassroots group fighting only and absolutely for student loan justice. We are a fiercely nonpartisan group, let me say. So whatever your political stripes are, you are very welcome in this group. Quite frankly, we kind of hate both political parties at the moment. Both have betrayed us and abandoned us. And so whatever your political stripes are, you're very welcome in this group. And I can guarantee you that if you're strongly partisan on one side or the other, we are going to insult your party and probably a lot of the politicians in your party. Why? Because they deserve it. We tell the truth on this group. Our stock and trade, the thing that has kept us going for 18 years, has been our groundbreaking, high quality, unassailable research. We look at the facts. We look at Department of Education data primarily. Sometimes we look at other data sources, not often though. And so when I make claims, the chances are I discovered those claims and nobody else has. Like, for example, the fact that older people now outnumber younger people with student loans. That's true. And on balance, they owe far, far more on average. Nobody else is saying that. That research came from us. And so when I say stuff like that on Twitter, and this is a longer story, but when I say stuff, and I'll talk about it in a minute. When I say stuff on Twitter and I link to my own research to verify that claim, I'm doing that not because I have like a big ego or because I'm lying, but rather because there simply are no other sources that are all backed by federally available data that anyone can vet for themselves, by the way. There are no other sources for Me 2.2 on those claims and on many, many others, like the fact that the government profits on defaulted loans, like the fact that the disqualification rate for the income-driven repayment plans is upwards of 90%, probably 95 or more percent. And actually, I do point to other sources for that particular claim. Anyways, we're glad you found us. Here is the lay of the land. We are kicking ass right now, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, we pretty much hate both parties at this point. It's kind of a good cop, bad cop thing. Yeah, both parties have betrayed, abandoned us in different ways. So we hate both parties in different ways. The rhetoric coming from each party is quite different. In fact, it's radically different from one to the other. But in terms of results of actually solving the student loan problem, we're looking at a uniparty thing, guys. Both parties have more fealty to the lending system than they do to us, the student loan borrowers. And that's unfortunately been true over the 18 years of our very long, somewhat tortured existence. So it is crazy time on the internet right now. As I said, we're kicking ass. And the reason why is because a Republican candidate for president, Ron DeSantis, is now calling for the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. That has really never happened before. Up to this point, it was kind of a good cop, bad cop thing. The Democrats were promising to return bankruptcy protections. The Republicans, by and large, until maybe recent years, by and large have opposed us on bankruptcy. The Republicans have been straight up evil on student loans generally, certainly on the loan cancellation issue. But the Democrats betrayed us last session. They betrayed us. They had been promising to return bankruptcy protections since 2016. They included it in their party platform, and 2020. But really, they've been promising that since 2006 or so. They had power last session, and they chose to abandon critical legislation that would have returned bankruptcy protections to student loans. Now, on the Republican side, it has been just nothing but a horror show pretty much the whole time we've been around. Until recently, this thing that we saw from Ron DeSantis yesterday was very significant. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, whether you hate Ron DeSantis, you love him, you're somewhere in between, or you're indifferent, having a Republican presidential candidate call for the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans is very big. It is a game changer, in fact. We don't care about either party, guys. As I said, we can take them or leave them at this point. We've been badly. The scales have fallen off our eyes with regards to the D's and the R's, and it's one big bipartisan duopoly, uniparty scam or something like that. So whatever you think about Ron DeSantis for the Republicans, this thing yesterday, or actually Monday, what am I talking about yesterday, is a very big deal. It changes the whole political landscape around student loans. And I can tell that defenders of the lending program are extremely concerned about that. I think the Democrats are very concerned. I think Donald Trump is quite concerned. I think all of the Republicans out there, and there are many, who have been secretly fighting tooth and nail behind the scenes to keep certainly the federal student loan scam, and it is a scam, going, are very concerned with what Ron DeSantis did on Monday. I'm very happy to tell you that it's spreading around the Republicans. This changes the game for us, guys. And I can tell you, we've been meeting with legislators this week, and the fact that Ron DeSantis did that has given us a real point of power in these discussions that we're having with our House reps. So it's getting crazy, guys. And here's really kind of the point of the live stream tonight. This is maybe more entertainment than anything for you, but we are being set upon viciously by Democratic operatives on Twitter right now. Like, we get hit hard by Republican operatives, and sometimes, but less frequently, by Democratic operatives who seek to defend and perpetuate the student loan scam on us. But, ooh, my goodness gracious, we are being absolutely attacked viciously by these, I don't know, I would call them like blue no matter who. Some of them actually with names, by the way, on Twitter, like not anonymous throwaway bot Twitter accounts, but rather people with actual names. And I'll give you just one example. So there's a writer in Hollywood, a fairly famous guy, I think, David Avalon, I think his name is, and you can maybe find him on Twitter, or maybe I'll even bring that post up. So just one example. First of all, these people attacked my credibility. They're like, you're no expert, and I know more about student loans than you, and clearly you're lying, accusing me of all these things that, of course, I would never do. And I hope that you know that if you've been with this group for any length of time. The veracity and the integrity of our research is of paramount importance to me. I never make any claims that are not true and that that cannot be easily verified, usually by nothing more than Department of Education data. So David Avalon, this writer in Hollywood, kind of a blue no matter who guy, he said to me, "You are a Republican." And he said, "You are pro-debt." And what else did he say? Okay, I have to find this. Hold on 1 minute. I'm going to share my screen here with you a minute so that you can get a kick out of this for yourself. Oh, here we go. Okay, so let me share my screen. David Avalon, a fairly famous, I think, writer in Hollywood or something, says, "When people ask you to back up your lies with facts, a link to your own blog is an absolute non-starter. Here are the same lies in a different place," he says. Okay, I can understand why someone might say that. As I said, hopefully I don't have to defend myself with you. the claims that we make are usually as a result of our own research, and much if not most of our own research ultimately winds up getting published in the mainstream media. But sometimes it takes a long time. Lately, it's been taking an incredibly long time for very important, significant truths that we uncover to see the light of day in the mainstream media. But okay, so that's fine. But his last line, "You're a Republican who is pro-debt and a coward." So hopefully I'm not a coward. Hopefully all the risks and sacrifices that I've taken and made over the past 18 years, all the people I've offended, all the personal risk I have taken with my own name, my reputation, and sometimes even my own safety, I think. The threats, including death threats that I've endured, etc., would hopefully show that I'm not a coward. But I leave that to your own. That's a qualitative judgment, not a quantitative one. But those first two is what I really find fascinating and hilarious. First, I'm a Republican. Okay. Well, let's see here. The book that I wrote, which was actually, and again, I'm not a narcissist. I'm not an ego guy, so I don't particularly like talking about myself all the time. But I do feel like I sort of need to defend myself a little bit. So the book that I wrote, which indeed was the first book ever to be written that critically analyzed the student loan program, the federal student loan program, and private student loans, was published by Beacon Press. Beacon Press is the oldest and I think the most liberal publisher in the country. What other liberal bona fides do I have? Well, Hillary Clinton's staff gave us credit as being the inspiration for the Hillary Clinton's S511, the Student Borrower Bill of Rights Act. I've considered myself friends with Ralph Nader, and he has. I've done many things with Ralph. I love Ralph. Ralph, if you're out there, we love you, man. Who's kind of the poster child for liberalism, certainly from the 1970s and maybe 80s. So I'm certainly not a Republican. Let's at least say that. And I can point to pretty much every article I wrote during the Trump administration as proof that I am definitely not a Republican. And if you look at my Twitter feed, it's quite clear that I am not a Republican. But what really got me was that he called me pro-debt. So, again, and I'm kind of speaking not only for myself, but for this group. This is not a Republican group. This group are not a bunch of cowards. This group, and I think I can speak for many, if not most people on this group, we are bold and courageous. We tell the truth no matter what. And a lot of people on our group have put themselves out in harm's way, or whatever you want to call it, to fight this battle. You know, I salute you. We are warriors. And anybody who calls us a coward hiding behind a Twitter account, although he did use his real name, David Avalon, as you can see there. He certainly doesn't know us. But to say that we are pro-debt, that is... I'm sorry, guys. That's way too much for me. And David, if you're watching this, shame on you, guy. It was this group that launched the concept of canceling student loans by executive order into the public conversation way before Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer, any other politicians were even mentioning student loan cancellation and executive order in the same sentence. Many months before that, we were calling on then President Trump to cancel loans by executive order. This thing that we just saw Biden do that got knocked down by the Supreme Court, that started in this group. And that's provable. The public record is very clear on that point. It wasn't the debt collective. It wasn't the student debt crisis. It wasn't Elizabeth Warren. It wasn't Chuck Schumer. It was us. It was the people on this group that started that whole thing, got it going, made it strong. And then during the pandemic, we just absolutely went viral. And then finally, 6 months after we started our petition at change.org/cancel student loans, which calls not only for cancellation by executive order, but also for the return of bankruptcy rights. Those are the two things that lie at the core of the student loan problem. It was 6 months after this petition started kicking ass that Elizabeth Warren and Chuck Schumer finally appropriated the concept. And we're glad that they did. Credit to them for doing that. So anyone that calls us pro-debt, I would say, in my humble opinion, David Avalon officially, well, no, let me put it this way. The term gaslighting, you know what gaslighting is when you try and make people think they're crazy and stuff? Gaslighting, I think, officially jumped the shark on Twitter with Mr. David Avalon's little snippet. So anyways, guys, I'm not going to go on too long. It's just silly, the heat that we're taking. We're taking it from both sides, by the way, guys. And as I said, typically day in, day out, we typically do battle with conservatives who just don't understand this problem. But now here we have a new front. Just because a Republican presidential candidate does a very helpful thing for the cause of student loan justice and calls for bankruptcy rights to student loans, all of a sudden we become evil and Republican and pro-debt. Like it's a crazy world out there. So I'm looking for your questions, comments right now. Sorry to be lagging. I'm not going to go on much longer tonight. I just wanted to sort of get this off my chest. I think I've been spending a little bit too much time on Twitter lately, quite frankly. It's just gotten so silly in recent weeks. I think my conclusion that I draw about all of this stuff that's going on right now, since DeSantis made his call, I think the Democrats are freaked out politically because they see the Republicans taking this issue away from them. I also think that I call it the student loan swamp, the defenders of the lending program, they are also very, very, very worried right now. So I think that means that we hit a nerve, guys. I think that means if you're a World War II bomber pilot, right? I think that means that we are now clearly over the target. And we have to keep going, guys. This is not when we rest on our laurels. This is when the iron is hot and we've really got to strike, because it's right now that we can actually solve this problem. It's the Wild West in the public conversation right now about student loans. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Dogs and cats are living together. It's nobody knows what's gonna happen. And quite frankly, that is our opportunity to finally break through and inject the truth and common sense and morality and I would say constitutional principles into the student loan debate. You know, there was a poll that a Republican in Congress, Thomas Massey out of Kentucky, that he ran yesterday on Twitter. I talk a lot about Twitter lately. I'm sorry about that, but things are happening on Twitter, guys. I just have to say, if you want to help us, probably getting a Twitter account is something that you definitely need to do. Worth doing. So Thomas Massey, Republican congressman in Kentucky, did a poll on Twitter asking the question, should student loans be discharged in bankruptcy? And he asked something about also, should the colleges be held to account or take some financial responsibility or something? The results of the poll, and this is a Republican poll, and he put this out to his own followers by and large. 20,000 people responded. 67.2% of the respondents said yes, bankruptcy should be returned to student loans. So 67 to 33% supported the return of bankruptcy rights to student loans. That, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very good for this group and our cause and the broader cause of student loan justice generally. And maybe the most important thing I'll say, particularly if you're new to the group, Whatever you want to see happen with your student loans, we've got to get the leverage of bankruptcy back first. I know I talk a lot about bankruptcy a lot. I know a lot of people out there are like, I don't want to file for bankruptcy. Why is this guy talking about bankruptcy? It makes no sense. Listen, guys, we've been living and breathing this issue for 18 years now. Unless and until we get the leverage of bankruptcy returned without anybody actually having to file. So in other words, very few people, maybe even no one, probably not you, will ultimately be compelled to file for bankruptcy. So that just won't happen. That's not the point. Just having the leverage of bankruptcy returned will compel meaningful, actual, real student loan cancellation. Maybe you want to break on interest on your loans. When we get the leverage of bankruptcy returned, that will happen for you. Maybe you want some other negotiated settlement on your whatever you want on your student loans. It almost certainly, in fact, I would say absolutely, and that's maybe too strong, but I see no universe in anything that you want to see happen good with your student loans. I see none of that actually happening. And take my word for it, guys, living and breathing the student loan issue for 18 long years now. I see nothing, not one thing good happening with student loans as long as bankruptcy remains gone. I see everything good happening, no matter what you want to see with your student loans, when we get the leverage of bankruptcy returned. Bankruptcy is the core of this whole thing. Whether you would ever or never file for bankruptcy does not matter. Everyone with student loans should be fighting as hard as they possibly can for the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans right now. October 1st is coming, guys. The loans are going to be turned back on, and it will be a bloodbath if they turn these loans back on, and we are still naked and vulnerable and afraid and like sheep to the slaughter, like a feast on a platter for the student debt collection industry. Those snakes. They are drooling at the prospect of these loans being turned back on October 1st and bankruptcy remaining gone from the loans. Bankruptcy is the kryptonite of the entire student loan program, guys. It is. So, and you know, if you forget everything I said tonight, if you're new to the group, if you're wondering, okay, I hear you, I like you, I believe you. What can I do to help? What you can do to help is do our daily actions. That's the first, best, most efficient use of your time, and it's very effective when everybody does it. You know, we've got 1.4 million members on our group, at least on paper. But on any given day, guys, I don't see more than a few hundred people doing our daily actions. And that's got to change. It's got to, guys. These are your loans. And we are the only group in the country actually fighting this battle. That's true. We are the only group, let me say that again. We are the only group in the country actually fighting the student loan justice battle in a way that's actually going to really not fake, not pretend, not $10,000 loan cancellation, not yet another bullshit income-driven repayment program slapped on the pile, but an actual solution to student loan debt. It's this group that is fighting that fight. No other groups are. That's true. All begins with bankruptcy, guys, whether you hate it or love it, or, and by the way, everybody hates bankruptcy. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. So our daily actions can be found at our website, studentloanjustice.org, or you can simply go to this bit.ly link right here, bit.ly/SLJ daily action. Our daily actions are quick. They're usually like Twitter stuff, like retweet this, retweet that. Twitter is important, guys. I won't repeat myself on that. Get a Twitter account. We need you in this fight, guys. We will lose it. We will be baffled and bamboozled and worn down and worn out by the opposition. They're very good at doing that. If we don't fight, when we fight, we will win. There's no way we can lose when a significant number of people on this group actually step up and at a minimum do our daily actions. That's true. I guarantee you. In fact, I guarantee you, if even 10%, if even 1 out of 10 of the people on our group were doing our daily actions every day, the student loan problem would be solved. In fact, quite frankly, I suspect that the entire lending program would be scrapped. I think all the loans would be canceled, and they would throw this failed U.S. policy experiment that is federal student loans onto the scrap heap of history. That really is the best solution for this problem. And many people in Washington, D.C. know that that's true. They won't say it publicly, but they know what I know. And I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but suffice it to say, by all rational metrics, the lending system is finished. Very few people, probably not even 25%, probably 20, maybe even 15%. Only 15 or 20% of the people with student loans are going to resume paying on their loans when they turn these suckers back on October 1st. So that's a failed, finished lending program, guys. And if even 10% of the people on our group, 1 in 10, we're doing our daily actions, that'd be 140,000 people a day retweeting our stuff, overwhelming the phone lines in Washington, D.C. You guys have no idea. You have no idea what a huge, strong nuclear strength muscle, national muscle we have. But that only happens. We only flex our muscle when you sitting there help. We're not here for your entertainment, guys. We're not. We're not here to make you feel good about yourself and blow smoke up your ass and give you the illusion that you're helping us fight this battle. You need to help fight this battle. We're a working fighting group. So I'm looking for your comments right now. I'm dialing them in as we speak. Sorry to be lagging. One thing I have to mention this, guys. We need donations, dudes. We need donations badly. We have to raise $400 by the end of the week. Quite frankly, we need to raise $400 by like tomorrow would be best. Just to cover our operating expenses for this week. So there's a $300 email bill. It's more than 400. I'm just going to be honest. But guys, we need donations very badly. If you appreciate this group, please donate. Please donate. And I will dial that in right there. Thanks to everyone who has been donating recently, guys. You know, we can do what we do on very little money, guys. Very little, like 3,000, maybe a little bit more per month. Like not a lot of money. Like it's pretty hard to live on 35,000. I think we pull in a little more than $35,000 a year, but something like $3,000 a month, let's just say, not a lot. And we are constantly on the verge of literally disappearing as a functioning group because of fundraising, guys. I hate fundraising. I'm really bad at it. Really bad, actually. But I love and salute and appreciate everybody who has been kicking in lately. And I would just only urge you, if you appreciate this group and our historical significance and our unique position of leverage on this issue right now, nationally, like all that we're poised to get done, just please donate so I can shut up about it. Please. Okay. I'm done with that. Hey, Lisa Ansel from Los Angeles is with us tonight. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Lisa says, Lisa's talking to Jackie, actually. Let me expand this discussion here. So, Lisa says, there's your first comment. I can see you now. Lisa says, this is the time to build off the Republican public shift on posture on bankruptcy. We need meetings with Republican senators and reps now more than ever to discuss why bankruptcy is the most politically conservative way to deal with the student loan debt crisis. Yes, Lisa, you said everything that I should have said tonight. We are asking everyone to get us in meetings with your House representative right now, particularly if they're Republican, but both parties, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter who your House rep is, we need to get into a meeting with them. Look at the thing scrolling below me. It's very, that's our contact info. Call your House rep, demand a meeting with them. Ideally, demand a meeting with their judiciary staffer and tell them you want to bring us on to the call, and we will very happily do most or all of the talking. Either I myself will come into the call, or another one of our diehard veterans, resident experts who can talk this talk effectively to politicians and their staff will be on the call. Probably will be me, actually, but who knows? Maybe if Lisa wanted to step in, or others, Christina, Jackie, Abram in Texas, Ed McKinley, our fearless co-leader. Do that, guys. This is where the problem gets solved. I don't care about the Democrats on Twitter, right? The DNC operatives. I don't care about the Republican operatives. I don't even care about the media, guys. And we've been getting good media coverage lately, too, knock on wood. But none of those superfluous, extraneous things matter. The only thing that matters is you and me and our group and the people on our group and Congress. Congress has to return bankruptcy to these loans. And we've got to meet with our House reps. The House of Representatives is critically important right now. The Republicans took the House. So we've got to get through to Republicans, guys. And as I said, historically, they've been very difficult on this issue. They are getting much better now in light of this most recent thing that we saw this week with Ron DeSantis. Now is the time that we've got to get us into those meetings. So right now, if you were ever going to do anything to solve the student loan problem besides sit on your ass and be a wallflower, and if you're not, then I salute you. But if you are a waiter, a watcher, and a worrier, and a sit on your ass and a do nothing, if ever you were going to turn over a new leaf and actually join our movement and actually help us fight, and it feels very good to fight, now would be the time. The first thing you would do is get us into a meeting with your House of Representatives representative and bring us on to the meeting. We will do all of the talking. We will bend over backwards to accommodate any and all calls. Whether it's a phone call or a Zoom, whatever the schedule may be, we will make sure that we will make that meeting. So that starts and ends with you. And only you can make that happen, because only you are constituent. We can't call and say, hey, we need a meeting. They'll say, who are you? Okay, what's your zip code? Where do you live? Okay, you're not a constituent, so call someone else. That's what happens. Lisa also says it now gives us credibility and standing with representatives. Yes, it does. We had some great calls this week so far, and the fact that Ron DeSantis did that thing. And by the way, we don't support Ron DeSantis necessarily, but we strongly applaud Ron DeSantis's call for the return of bankruptcy rights to student loans. And that doesn't make us partisan. We say very glowing things about politicians, no matter what their political stripes are, if they say the right things and do the right things on student loans. And Ron DeSantis just did that. Jackie Abrams says, keep tearing them down. I'd rather just not even fight at all. But the fact that all these Twitter operatives are so concerned with us right now. Vanjie and Rue. Hey, Vanjie. Also in California. Vanjie says, you are definitely not a coward. Okay. Thank you for that, Vanjie. Thank you. I've been gaslit so badly today. I need some sane voices to allay all the fear and doubt and insecurity that was seated in me today by all these gaslighters. Lisa Ansel says, Alan, stop giving this asshat credence by defending yourself with us. Okay, good point. I shouldn't have to defend myself. We know who you are, and that is why we are here and continue to stick around day after day. Well, thank you, Lisa. And, I love you guys, all the warriors out there, and you know who you are. Jackie and Lisa and Vanjie, and obviously Ed, our fearless co-leader, and Christina and Joanna and Gordon and so many other people. I can't start naming names, but Nicholas in Utah. We know what we know what we're about, guys. And we know what we've accomplished, by the way. We may never get credit for a single thing in the public zeitgeist for anything that we've accomplished, but we know what we've done, and we know the importance of this group. So we've got, if there was a karma bank account up in the clouds somewhere, we would have a lot of credit in that account. So, hey, Jackie Brown in Texas says, Lisa, do you know Kevin Kiley, a He's a Republican California congressman whose district covers part of Lake Tahoe, I happen to know. We need to put some pressure on him. Yeah, good point. Kevin was on C-SPAN the other day. Oh, Kylie ran for governor. I didn't know that. Yeah, he's kind of a well, good for him. I applaud anybody who runs for higher office. It takes a lot of guts. Yeah, he's definitely a younger guy. He doesn't look like he's more than about 27 years old. But so I'm going to go ahead and not go through the dialogue between Jackie and Lisa there. Yeah, but I agree. Maybe putting some pressure on Kylie right about now would be a very good idea, Jackie. And by the way, if you live in California, you happen to live in Northern California in the Lake Tahoe area, or maybe a little weird gerrymandered district that goes to the left of Lake Tahoe area. If you live in Kevin Kylie's district, this is your call to action. Also, Jackie is wondering if anyone in Texas, fucking flies. If anyone in Texas happens to live in Wesley Hunt's district. Wesley is a Republican congressman, African-American, by the way, who himself has student loans. So we think there might be something there, although it's always kind of a crapshoot. You know, what I've noticed with congressmen with student loans, sometimes they overcompensate in Congress and they go out of their way to defend the federal student loan program rather than to attack it, which is what they should be doing. So, yeah, if we can get through to them, that would be great. Lisa asked, who's the Kentucky state chapter leader? Oh, my God. Oh, I think it used to be Jill Elswick, but I think that we currently, and I'll check again, and I apologize. 50 states, it's hard for me to keep track of all of our state chapters. I want to say that we currently don't have a state chapter leader for the state of Kentucky. I could be wrong. I would urge you to go to that state chapter group, which you can find through our website. Just go to the website, look at state chapters, find Kentucky, look at the membership list, and look and see who is admin for that group. And if there's nobody but me as the admin, then we don't have a leader. We need a leader. Also, Nicholas is making a call for Utah constituents. He says, please, Utah constituents, come on. What are you waiting for? I'm so tired of doing everything myself. Well, my hat is off to you, Nicholas. And believe me, man, I totally empathize with you. As a state chapter leader, sometimes it can be like herding cats. It can be like screaming into the Grand Canyon. It's like, hello, is anybody in here? And like, maybe you've got a couple hundred people in your state chapter, but you really have to persevere and have a very strong stomach and a strong spine to be in this fight, guys, particularly as a state chapter leader. So my hat's off to you all. And if you live in Utah, get off your ass. These are your loans and your problem. And it feels very good to fight this fight. And I know Nicholas, and he's a very good guy and very easy to work with. And he needs your help. And he can't do this all by himself. He can't pull your weight for you. And to all of the wallflowers out there sitting, waiting, watching, wondering, none of us can pull your weight for you. You got to dive into this battle and get your knuckles a little muddy or a little bloody. And quite frankly, if you have no intentions of doing that, you should leave because you're bad karma. We don't need lazy, cynical people on this group. We need fighters. We need constructive, engaged, good-faithed, energetic, ambitious. Maybe that's all too much to ask. We need fighters in this group. You need to be willing to fight. And this is your fight. And this is our generation's fight. Many generations of our fight, from old to young and all in between. From 18 to 85 and beyond, we have 90-year-olds of student loan debt in our group. It's true. Van Gianru says, bankruptcy allows the free market to function. Without it, the student loan system is just socialized loan sharking. I think you mean to say, Vanji. That's right. That's exactly right. The founding fathers called for bankruptcy rights in the Constitution, ahead of the power to declare war, ahead of the power to raise an army, ahead of the right to bear arms, ahead of the right to free speech, ahead of every right enumerated in the Bill of Rights. That's true. So, okay, guys, I can't get to all your comments tonight. I'm sorry, it's too much. But I hope you guys are enthused and energized. More than anything, I hope all the wallflowers out there are going to start doing our daily actions. And maybe urgently, I hope a few people will donate right now because, dudes, we don't want to go under. So please donate. Please donate. So I'm going to leave it there. I'll be back tomorrow. We're having a very good week, guys. Let's strike while the iron is hot. God luck. God luck. Good luck. Godspeed. God luck. And God bless everyone.